What up, you guys? Welcome back to Pro Publications YouTube channel. It's me, Rich. Daily uploads until I open up my own shop. And guess what? Today we're gonna roast my zine. This is my latest one-page, 16-panel comic zine of fan art that's related to the James Gunn Superman film. And I thought, why not pull out my red marker and go ahead and just roast my own shit. All right, let's go ahead and look at this thing. Alright, so let's start with this first page, and let's start off with the cover. So, off the back, this is pretty straightforward, right? It's just for a publication where weird calls home, that's fire. I definitely like this drawing of me over here as Superman, kind of just chilling in my undies. I wasn't really going to do, you know, just regular undies, but I figured I wouldn't wear regular undies, right? I think the regular undies now are boxers. And it looks like in the movie, he's also wearing closer to boxer briefs and not just straight up underwears. This drawing right here, I like. The only thing I want to say is that I wanted to communicate that he's in the air. I kind of for a while thought about doing like motion lines, like if he like had jumped up or something. Or I was thinking about finding a way of making the cape a little more like bouncy and like in the air. But in the end, this is kind of what I landed on. I definitely like the laser beams. I think the laser beam really reads, but I definitely wish I would have been able to communicate like he's in the air a little better. And after that, this square ass face that I do Superman, but I don't know why. Anytime I think of Superman, I think of like a really blocky kind of fella. So here, first of all, we got Hot Girl. Hot Girl took me a while to do, and as you can see here, this wing here does not look as good as this wing here. Something about that symmetry that I probably should have used a ruler to get it just better, right? Because this wing is shorter. Maybe that's normal and more common. This is the portion of it that I really understood now, was that her helmet is kind of like this, right? And this part right here is the part that I think is more important. And then she has her hair or whatever that kind of comes out. But like I said, I started to understand the mechanics of the character just a little bit better through this practice. And Hot Girl is definitely one of them. That in the end of it all, I really did like my iteration. I mean, it's nothing fancy, nothing great, but it definitely reads. I think it holds up. Metamorpho. Metamorpho, I think, is pretty straightforward. The real way of selling it is kind of like the scales and then this wooden leg versus like just different textures, you know. And this is not a character that I'm very familiar with, but online obviously they had images of them, and I kind of just did my iteration of what I think to be the more popular of it. Like I said, this character design is really fire because a lot of it is just the texture of it, you know. And if you're able to translate the 4 different textures, right, while separating this portion of it, I think that this character actually is a very, very cool character design. Definitely really dope. Here goes my Clark Kent, and this was actually, I based this off a picture of Christopher Reeves, and Christopher Reeves is my like original Superman, and definitely tried to make him look like Christopher Reeves. Obviously I kind of failed because I think Christopher Reeves was a little bit more of a blocky kind of Superman. And I don't know if you guys can read it or not, but I definitely feel like the shades is what made his Superman just, you know, more iconic. And I really feel like I got the comb over pretty good. I feel like this comb over translates. And then I gave him a butt chin, which I don't know if Christopher Reeves had a butt chin or not, but I definitely think Superman does have a butt chin, or should have a butt chin. Jimmy Olsen. This is where I have to roast my shit, because I could not for the life of me think of a Jimmy Olsen version that I knew or I remembered or really like I identified with. And then on top of that, like I didn't really know, other than Jimmy Olsen being like another cameraman is kind of how I know him as. I know he's Clark Kent's friend and all that good stuff, but like he's not a very memorable character for me, at least. And so like my version of Jimmy Olsen is a straight up cop out, right? Like you don't see a face, all you see is the camera, which is what I know him for, and then the press pass which just says Jim Olsen. And that's how I sold the idea of Jimmy Olsen. It's a real cop out. Here we go now. Let's go ahead and look at, first of all, the bot. I like it. I've been doing a lot of robot art, and I stand by my robot art. I think that I'm getting a lot better at it. Definitely not on some Jack Kirby tech shit, but like, I think it holds up. I think it looks pretty fire. My version of Lex Luthor, I also like a lot. And I base this on two things. I base this on Frank Miller's version of Lex Luthor, but I also based it on like a selfish businessman who kind of doesn't love himself either, which is kind of my iteration of Lex Luthor. Even though in reality Lex Luthor would probably be more like a Jeff Bezos, which I considered doing like a Jeff Bezos kind of look to Lex Luthor. But for some reason, when I did this like really weird version of Lex Luthor, I liked it a lot, and I kind of just stuck with this idea of like he has no neck, and just kind of like this iteration, just I don't know what it was about it, but I liked it and I kept it. Crypto, I did it as like a fan of My Puppy. So this is actually supposed to be more closer aligned to the way I draw My Puppy Lucky, and so then I just did it like if Lucky happened to be the crypto dog. I don't know what happened to his arms here. Not a very good iteration of these arms. Like he looks like he has alien arms or something. Like maybe if he's turning into a xenomorph of some sort, or maybe like he's a little mini Quado. You know, not really sure what happened there, but you know, that's what I ended up with. This Superman, this is what I think makes Superman who Superman is. It's this fucking curl, right? That big ass curl, and then this butt chin. One thing I will say is that it looks like he has no neck, but this was right here was supposed to meant to be the neck. This portion here that I'm highlighting in right now. And so this is supposed to be his face here. But this chin, this protruding chin. And I don't know what I did with his nose here, because I don't picture him having a hook nose. His nose should have probably been more like, you know, more pronounced, a little bit larger. But yeah, that was the Superman iteration. This is the first sit down outing that I did. Lois Lane. My Lois Lane, trash. I based it on like old school Lois Lane comic art, and for the most part it reads, but it doesn't fit any of the other drawings. I definitely probably should have sat down and just worked on the Lois Lane look a little more. But this is one of those things where like I couldn't understand the character or what made the character iconic. Sadly, I don't think they've done a good job of really making Lois Lane her own character, and hence this iteration of her right here is definitely not my favorite, but it is what it is. Ultraman is another one who, like I said, because he's supposed to kind of like resemble Superman, just an evil version of him, had to have this little curly lock thing that they have, had to have the strong chin, and ultimately this big thing that they have in their chest, even Superman has it, right? That thing really is what I think is the most iconic version of it, that really stands out and lets you know who they are. So I don't hate my version of Ultraman. I definitely didn't base this version of him off of the movie, rather like just the images that exist on him and the cartoon, the animated show. But beyond that, I really like my Guy Gardner, man. I think that I really shot my shot on this, and that his bow cut looks fire. His emblem here really reads. His getup is iconic as well. This is one of those characters that like everything about him really stands out, and it makes it easy to read who and what he is. Mr. Terrific is another version too, that this character, the way I did it, I really vibed with. I know it was a very simple iteration of it, but this for me definitely it reads like who he's supposed to be. The only thing I'll say is that here I kind of messed up. I feel like it should have been a little further out here, so it should have been like that. And this ear, right, probably should have had a little bit more hair back here, and I should have probably indented this a little more, so you know that it's like a mask that's protruding off of his face. But overall, I'm really happy with the way this one came out. If I had to say honestly, out of all this, Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, and then the Superman splash, definitely my favorite of the bunch. Definitely Metamorpho stands out as well. I definitely dug it. But yeah, if I had to pick my top three, it's going to be those three. But alright, you guys, that's me roasting my shit, my own art. And I definitely enjoyed making the zine, and I look forward to making many more zines. And I can't wait to see the movie. And maybe tomorrow I'll talk about some of the things that has me excited about the Superman film. Alright, you guys, that's all I got for you guys today. Remember, there will be a link in the show notes to take you to feralpublication.com, where you guys get the buttons, zines, stickers, and t-shirts I make. Beyond that, please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Lates.